everybody. I'm Richard.
And I'm Shawn.
And we're speaking the language of bromance. It's the end of July, and you know what the end of July means?
Comic-Con.
It means Comic-Con. And if nobody knows what Comic-Con is, just turn it off. Just turn us off right now. No, I'm kidding. Don't do that. Don't do that. No, Comic-Con, San Diego International Comic-Con is a once-a-year event in sunny San Diego and sunny Southern California that has pretty much become a mecca for geek culture.
Yeah, I just recently heard that it is actually almost bigger than South by Southwest. Like, it's getting close to those type of numbers.
I've heard that the last number I heard was about like 20 to 35,000.
That is so many people.
It is so many people.
Neither one of us have been. Have you even been around there when it's been going on?
Yes, I have. I went last year. And it's, I mean, like the throngs of people, I mean, it boggles your mind, you know, just to see that many, you know, I mean, it's you know, you go to like a sports event, like a baseball game or a football game or something, and you see people like exiting, and you know, you're walking out and you're just, and in your head you're thinking like, oh God, like how am I going to drive through all this traffic, and like look at all these people, but I didn't know what crowded was. I mean, you know, we're talking about San Diego. San Diego's a fairly large city, you know. I don't have, you know, statistics in front of me, but it's a big city. And to see like entire city blocks just filled with people everywhere. That's, I mean, just the number of people, you know, for one is amazing. But two, the fact that they're all there for the things that you like and the things that I like, and the way you it's like this unspoken bond that it's like connecting into like this inner energy, consciousness, who knows? It's like plugging into the mother brain or something.
Well, it's a scenario. I mean, you can't walk around a corner without running into somebody that doesn't like at least something that you like, or at least would stand there and listen to what you like. I mean, it just, from all the pictures and everything, that it just seems like there's just an avenue for everything. If you like horror movies, there's going to be a thing for horror movies. If you like, you know, cartoons, there's a cartoon thing. If you like comics, you know, basically what it started out with, there's the comics there. But even, I mean, like Kevin Smith has his own thing there, and he sells out Hall H every year.
Every year.
I mean, there's tons of avenues or just tons of different things out there for you to see. I've never been. I want to go someday.
Hall H is it's one hall in the convention. It's their biggest hall. It seats, I want to say, up to 5,000 people.
Yeah, I think in his recent podcast he said something like he heard that it seats up to about 6,000.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's now or if that's just them squeezing in or how it works.
Who knows? But
that's just a lot of people in a room.
Oh my God. And, you know, most of those people have been sitting there for hours.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I've like I said, I don't really know, so this is all kind of just what I've heard, but like people go and like sit in these halls all day. So basically they line up for Hall H, and that's, I guess, where they camp out all day or all week.
Right.
Which kind of sucks, because it's like, well, if I want to go see Kevin Smith, there might be, you know, 1,000, 2,000 people in there who, you know of him but don't really want to sit in there for him, but they're staying in there for either the previous thing or a thing that's, you know, hours away.
Right.
I don't really know if there's a way around that, but
it's well, I mean, not really. I mean, to have, although they are doing kind of interesting things. I just read somewhere that I think I want to say it was the Marvel panel. Like the way the halls usually work is they have a panel, and then, you know, that panel leaves and another panel comes on. But if you stay in your seat, basically, you know, you just camp your seat and then you're good until the next panel. So what a lot of people do is they sit for like earlier panels, so that way they can have the seat for the panel that they want to see. Like, so I think I want to say it was Marvel. It might have been DC, but the panel right before them was a panel on roles that women play in or the It was basically like women's rights in comics.
Okay.
In terms of like, you know, sexualization of characters and, you know, and how people need to be more, you know, sexually conscious or female conscious. And that was intentional because they're like, well, if they want the Marvel panel, then that's
awesome.
They're gonna get schooled on how to treat a lady. Ooh, the cosplay. That was gonna be the other thing.
Yeah.
If you're into horror movies, that's great. There's a panel for you. If you're into comic books, you're in heaven. There's artists to sign. There's vendors galore. If you're into toys, you've got toys galore. If you're into seeing a lot of women in Wonder Woman outfits, this is where you need to go. And I mean a lot.
Well, not just Wonder Woman. I mean, it's going to range from a female Freddy Krueger to, you know, female Avenger outfits. I mean, it's across the board.
Women, yeah, the cosplay is huge. And that's the other thing is like to just think in your head that like, oh my God, there's so many people and they're all, and this is how I know that they're into the stuff. They're into the stuff I like to the point that they're willing to put on a Batman outfit. I was last year when I went, I was having breakfast somewhere, and we're driving down the freeway, and on the side of the freeway, just walking down the side of the street, I see somebody dressed up as Batman, like Michael Keaton Batman, next to I want to say it was the Flash. No, was it the Flash? No, it was Predator. It was someone dressed as a predator, and they're just walking down the freeway, just chit-chatting with each other. You know, you could see them, they're kind of talking with their hands and whatever, and I'm like, only here and only now would that happen and be okay.
You know, a week before or a week after, it's kind of weird, but right then it's you know, it's the norm.
Exactly. And I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, you have like the big convention hall. So you have the convention hall with, you know, vendors and artists and, you know, and panels going on and everything. But it's not just that. Like that the con has become so huge that it's now extended to like, you know, 2, 3, 4 blocks outside of the convention hall where there's all sorts of crap promoting all sorts of stuff. You know, like when I went, they had it's right by the bay where the convention hall is, and next to the bay they were promoting. They had a full-size ship parked in the harbor, like an old school ship. You know, wood planks, rigging. You know, straight out of Pirates of the Caribbean, flying the Assassin's Creed logo on all of the sails.
Gotcha.
Because they were promoting that Assassin's Creed 4 or Black Flag 4, Black Flag. I think it's one of the same.
Yeah, and I think this year they had a ship out there too. It was one of the Game of Thrones houses had the flag on it.
Yeah, and I mean, you're just sitting there, you're just like, oh my God, like this. I mean, it's and when you look at that and you're like, that is. And you think that's, you know, look at the elaborateness of this. But then you realize that then you just look around and it's such a small fraction of everything that's going on there. And it just goes, I mean, like, and the thing is, it's like, aside from getting into the actual convention hall and walking on the floor, it's all free to just walk around and, you know, I mean, look at stuff and talk to people and, you know, get pictures with people in costume and, you know, I mean, you would think that they would find it weird, but they love it. They yearn for it.
Well, they spend a lot of money on a lot of those things. I mean, you look at some of the elaborateness on those costumes. I mean, it's not cheap, and it takes skill to do.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and so I think a lot of those people actually make their own costumes.
Yes.
So the time and effort that goes into it.
And the ingenuity.
Yeah, and if you wanted to go in and buy those, I mean, you're looking at, you know, hundreds of dollars, I would assume, if not more.
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, San Diego Comic-Con. It's a geek mecca. I would say it should. If anyone is into anything that we have ever talked about so far on this podcast, if it's TV or movies or comic books or anything, if anyone is into any of these things beyond just like oh yeah, that's all right, this event needs to be on your bucket list.
Well, if I remember, I can't see the prices right now, but I think I looked it up a couple of years ago, and it was relatively cheap. I mean, it was, I want to say it was under $100 for like a day pass to get in there.
Right. The convention usually runs like 4 days. They do like a preview night, Wednesday or Thursday night, and then you got all day Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and it wraps up on Sunday, like early Sunday evening, like 3-4 o'clock Sunday evening. And then we sit here and we do a podcast. I mean, you look at people, people like Kevin Smith and Chris Hardwick and guys like that. I mean, they do live shows from Comic-Con, and they sell out 2,000-seat theaters. And they just do a live podcast, live from Comic-Con, and bring people up. And the celebrity is also a big thing. I mean, celebrities everywhere, all, either promoting a movie or, just walking around.
I love, speaking of them walking around, I can't remember, I'm sure a few of these people have done it, but people that walk around in like different costumes.
Yes.
So it's like it's a celebrity in a costume. You can't see who it is, and they're just walking around, and they'll end up like, I believe the guy who is the new Spider-Man. He in the Spider-Man panel showed up wearing a Spider-Man outfit. Nobody knew who it was until he got to the mic. Tears off his mask, and it's like, oh, it's the new Spider-Man.
Right. Let's see. This year, Daniel Radcliffe had a Spider-Man, and that's the other thing. I mean, that's one thing that kind of helps them, just because they know, like, hey, if you're Matt Smith and you're gonna walk out on the con floor, like you will, there's a good chance you might be killed.
Yeah.
Because you will just be like surrounded and then crushed by throngs of people. So one thing that these celebrities like to do is they put on they put on a costume, and they're walking around on the floor, and they're just like everyone else when they do that. And they actually get a big kick out of it. People walk up and take pictures with them or whatever, and some of them have absolutely no idea who's behind that mask.
Yeah.
This year, Daniel Radcliffe had a Spider-Man outfit on. Massey Williams, the girl that plays Arya Stark in Game of Thrones, just put a Spider-Man mask on so she could be out on the floor. I'm trying to think. Peter Jackson was like out and about in town as a jester.
That's funny.
That was another one. And like you see pictures of him taking pictures with other people.
And then posted them later on.
Oh, let's get a picture with the jester, and you're like, yeah, that's the guy that made Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd have the the gonads to actually go up and ask for those pictures, even if I saw them. I always feel weird about that kind of stuff.
I felt a little weird at first, but I've got pictures with Thor and people dressed up as Thor and Gandalf and all, and they're actually like really okay with it. Obviously you don't want to if you see 8 people walk up to him, you don't want to be the 9th.
Yeah.
But if you're walking down a bit of the sidewalk and and somebody walks by you that looks fucking stellar, then yeah, go up, get a goddamn picture. Because when are you gonna see that again? Until next year, maybe.
And I guess at worst, if they say no, it's like, oh, okay, no big deal. It's not. You don't have to be a dick about it or anything.
Yeah, usually they're just like, oh no, I gotta get somewhere. Or I saw a sale on toys and I need my Millennium Falcon fix or whatever.
So I guess there's a couple things. Mine's probably mostly gonna be Kevin Smith centric. But what's some of the big highlights you heard come out of Comic-Con?
Let's see. They released another Batman pick.
I saw that one.
Did you see that with the little side headshot in full color, not in black and white?
They released a teaser trailer for the new Batman.
They did, which I actually haven't seen. That was the other thing. That's another big thing with Comic-Con is a lot of the footage and stuff you see, I won't catch online for like another 2-3 weeks at least, and that sometimes it might be a month before. It's like, oh yeah, the people at Comic-Con saw this last month, and
yeah, I saw a bit of it. The video I saw was really, really grainy. In it, I don't know. Do you want me to spoil it at all for you?
No, go for it.
Okay.
Go for it.
So basically, all you see is, and from the video, it looks very much like it's like a video game. So it doesn't even really look like it's actual like footage. But you see Batman ripping off a thing for the bat signal, and bat signal flashes, and you see Superman start coming down, and his eyes glowing real red, and Batman's eyes are glowing silver, and then it just cuts to black, and then the symbol pops up.
No, okay.
So
okay.
nothing.
They did have a pic of Wonder Woman. They did release that.
I saw that. That looked pretty decent.
She looks like Xena.
I think because I read somewhere that might just be kind of her origin outfit. It's not her actual outfit.
Okay.
So that's because she's the Amazonian.
She's an Amazonian princess.
Yeah. So that's probably gonna be like her pre thing before she's the Wonder Woman that we've known to love and admire.
I don't mind if she looks like Xena.
Yeah, I think it looked pretty cool. She looked badass. And like you said, that Marvel thing they had about women in comics. I mean, you don't really see them on the forefront. So
right,
if she could take a big part in this, that'd be awesome.
Oh yeah. Let's see. So we had the Wonder Woman pick. There was the Batman pick. There was the Marvel panel had, from what I understand, it showed a little bit of Avengers 2, a smidge.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
They had the full cast up for the panel. Aside from, I think Scarlett Johansson was the only one that wasn't on the panel, on the Marvel panel, because I guess she's really pregnant. Very, very pregnant, apparently. Oh. She did leave a video message, I guess, before one of the clips played, but yeah, she wasn't on the... Robert Downey Jr. showed up, started throwing roses at the crowd, and the rest of the cast was there. Hulk, Cap, Thor, Hawkeye. They introduced Quicksilvers and Scarlet Witch and Ultron, and then towards the end of the panel, they introduced Josh Brolin, who is going to be who cameos in Guardians of the Galaxy as Thanos. He walks in like wielding the Infinity Gauntlet in his hand. It's kind of awesome. Game of Thrones panel. They announced their cast list for season 5. That was a big thing. I think that was day 1. They had the Game of Thrones panel.
Yeah, I didn't really hear too much about besides them announcing who was going to be there. I know the other news, I don't know if it was really after Comic-Con, but they said that George R.R. Martin won't be visiting the set because he's trying to finish his book. Okay. So that was kind of the big news from him.
Here I have a juicy bit of casting news. I can't think of the actress's name, but she plays the gigantic woman in Game of Thrones. I can't think of her name.
Beth, not Beth. Tarth, something of Tarth.
Yes, something Tarth. I can't think of it either.
I'll find it. Go on.
Anyway, big giant girl. If you know him, if you've seen the show, you know him.
Brienne of Tarth.
Right.
There we go.
Okay, she apparently has been cast into episode 7.
Oh.
And not necessarily as a good guy.
I see that here on her Wikipedia.
Also, possibly wielding a lightsaber.
Nice. Well, she fits it. I mean, she's... She actually looks kind of cute here in this picture from 2009. Yeah, I mean, she can handle the sword, and I think she's an awesome Brianna Tarth. Like, I think she does a great job in that show.
Mm-hmm. They all do.
Oh yeah, I guess.
I mean,
when you,
they all do. But okay, so here we go. Speaking of, this is a good segue of episode 7. There was someone, and I'll throw this to you, that visited the episode 7 set in the last couple months, I believe, and that was Kevin Smith.
Yeah, so that's kind of another big, because I just listened to his podcast where he did it from Comic-Con, and he told the story about when he went and saw the Millennium Falcon. And have you listened to that yet?
I did listen to it, and this might make me sound like a bit of a baby, but when he was talking about the Millennium Falcon and he felt like he was 7 years old and he got glassy-eyed, I did too.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I not for the same reason. Like, I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, but like I kind of had that same understanding, because like it's whenever I go to baseball games, because I loved playing baseball when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh man, I know those exact same feelings when you walk and see the field, and like just for a few moments you're like back to that innocent age of a kid, and you're just like, oh my god, like the world is at my feet. So I thought that was pretty cool. It was a pretty touching way of him saying that, because I don't know if everybody ever feels like that, but it was pretty cool him talking about how like each step he just kind of like slowly got younger and younger until he's a kid again in what he like somebody like you would dream of being in.
Oh my God! If I had the chance, if I got to walk in the set, the actual like Millennium Falcon, I would probably cry as well. Like his assistant was like, "Well, most people get excited." He's like, "You don't understand." Like that's what I'd be like. I'm sorry. It's not. This isn't bad.
It's
I
so
promise.
beautiful.
I would. I probably would. I would. Yeah. Oh.
Because did you have a lot of toys and stuff like that when you were growing up with Star Wars stuff?
With Star Wars, I had the figures. We couldn't afford I couldn't afford any of the ships. I did have at my great grandmother's house. There was a kid that lived across the street, and he had a gigantic Star Wars toy collection. Like he had everything. He had the Millennium Falcon. He had the Snow Walker. He had the AT-ATs. He had the AT-STs. Like I was all over it. Like I brought like my little like 10 figures, and I was like, let's play, and but yeah, I mean, it wasn't. I mean, everybody says those movies define my childhood. I mean, there's tons of people that say that, and it's hard to put into words what those movies mean. Like I remember it's one of the very first cinematic memories that I have. Like, I was born in 82, and so by the time I got to be like 6 years old, I think it was like, it was 88, and so by that time, you had like things like VCRs, and my dad recorded had the trilogy on VHS, and I remember the very first. I ended up watching them out of order. I watched Empire first.
Okay.
So I'm 6 years old, and I watched Empire Strikes Back, and the places that movie made my imagination go insane. Like, and it wasn't just like, I want to, I want to, be Luke, or I want to, pretend that I'm fighting the Empire, or
pretend that you're Leia, or is that just me?
It was me too. Help me, Shawn, your only hope. But yeah, it inspired me to dream as big a dream as George Lucas had. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the common denominator for people that say, oh, that movie inspired me, or I wouldn't be here without, this movie or these series of movies. Is it showcases what your imagination is capable of creating and how seamless it can be and how amazing it can be. But yeah, movies are amazing.
Yeah, see, I missed a lot of that because I was born in '86, so I mean, by the time I was kind of like when you said you were 6, like that stuff had already I don't know if it already passed, but like my family was never big into it, so the only time I ever really saw those episodes was like I caught them in bits and pieces when they're on I think they used to be on like Thanksgiving Day or Christmas, like some channel had them on, so it would
By the
just
time
be on.
you got to them, were they the re-releases or
When did the re-releases come out?
mid-90s, I want to say.
Maybe. But still not enough that I watched like a full one through. Like I don't think I watched the first one all the way through until like 2006.
Oh God, I wore that tape out.
And it's
that tape. I actually still have the tape. It won't play. Like it'll go in for about 5 minutes and then it'll be straight static till like Luke blows up the Death Star. Like
nice.
I wore the tape out.
Yeah, I think I've seen them all the way through now, but it's been, I think those are like I've caught them on TV or caught them here and there. I mean, we've talked about it before, and I thought it was funny to bring this up because this is our 7th episode, so episode 7. We're going to talk about episode 7 a little bit, but we've talked about it before, but we ran that Star Wars campaign. It's like a D&D version, but Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen any of the movies at this point, so I'm playing Star Wars just on the idea of like catching bits and pieces. Like I knew what Jedis were, I knew what Wookiees were. Yeah, I hadn't. I was embarrassed to say so.
As well, you should have been, because I really didn't know that. Okay, so we were playing Star Wars, and you had never seen. You hadn't seen any of them.
Yeah, I hadn't seen them all the way through. So I'm like, I've caught bits and pieces of it. So I mean, I kind of knew the premise of everything, but I had never sat down and watched one from beginning to end.
Wow.
And so I remember
I made my wife, when we were dating, watch them.
But I remember in one of the scenes, because we had a Wookiee with us, so like getting into places was real difficult. And this was one of the things that was kind of embarrassing. Like I didn't get until I watched the show. I actually watched the movie. And they're like, well, let's just do the Wookiee trick and we'll just act like he's a prisoner. And I was like, oh, wow, that's a really great idea. I wonder how they came up with that. And, we do our thing. And, we.
What genius!
Yeah, I know. And so, like, I watched the movie years later. I'm like, oh, wow, that's where they got it. They're not as smart as I thought they were.
Oh.
The best one, though, I've never told you.
We're all fine here now. How are you? Who's this? What's your operating number? Boring conversation anyway.
But I've never told you this part. So now that you know that I've never seen it, one of the cooler things that was happening. So we were in the game. We were in flight fighting things, and I was a gunner.
Okay.
And so we're shooting, and I end up getting one. I'm like, yeah, I got one, not thinking that's actually in the movie. And one of the guys that we're playing with is like, "Don't get cocky, kid." And like I kind of took it serious. I was like, "Oh, sorry." And so he finally said something about like he's like, "Do I get extra experience points for using a quote from the movie?" And I was like, "Oh, it's a quote from the movie." And again, it was just one of those things that like once I finally watched the movie, I was like, "Oh, okay, that's where that happened. That makes more sense now."
I got one.
Don't get cocky, kid.
Like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I've never told you about that, but yeah, I'd never seen it until years later.
Wow, that's yeah.
I think actually I want to.
You made it to adulthood,
yeah,
without watching those movies. That's wow. Yeah, when we were when me and Amanda were dating. This sound okay. This is how bad it is. This is how bad. When me and Amanda were dating, after a couple months, she was like, what we should do? We should spend a weekend together. And I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. Well, actually, no. Let me backtrack. I'll backtrack a bit. And for some reason, when I apparently was talking with a girl, the subject of Star Wars would come up. And she was like, oh, I've never seen those movies. I'm like, you've never seen any of these movies? And she was like, no, it's kind of, it's not really like a thing for girls or whatever. I was like, bullshit. I was like, those movies are for everybody. I was like, those movies appeal to all shapes and sizes and all colors and creeds. And she, she was like, maybe I'll watch them someday or whatever. So we'll cut to a few months later. She's like, we should spend a weekend together. And I've said, no, that's a great idea. I was like, and she's like, yeah, I figured, we could like, go somewhere and we could just like have like a hotel room and, spend the whole weekend in the hotel room. And like, then she gives me that eye, like, like she gives me those eyes.
Yeah.
And then the first thought I have, which I make the mistake of saying out loud, I was like, what we could do while we're there? I'll bring my VCR and you can watch the Star Wars trilogy. And then there was this long pause and she was like, okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
What I was thinking about.
That's totally what you do in hotel rooms.
I didn't. And then I didn't understand why she was so standoffish.
I just thought she didn't like the movies.
I did bring it, by the way, and we did watch the entire trilogy. I mean, that's not all we did, but we did watch the entire trilogy, the original trilogy, because by this point, episode 1 had not been released yet. Watched the entire trilogy from beginning to end.
And say that's only about 2 hours apiece, right? They're not that.
No, like an hour and a half.
Yeah, because
they're
not
40.
Lord of the Rings. Because if you guys went to a hotel to watch Lord of the Rings, you'd probably still be there.
Yeah. Especially you go like the extended edition.
That's what I've heard. Have I ever told you my story about Lord of the Rings?
No, but I will say that I have not not only have I seen the entire trilogy, not only do I own the extended editions of each of the 3, but I also have not only watched them but watched them with director commentary and cast commentary. So I have gone through those movies at least 3 times. Yeah.
Jeez.
That's where I am.
So I think I had like Stars or something like that for a while. Like I had some channel that was playing Lord of the Rings, or maybe I rented it or no. Yeah. So here's the story. So it was on Stars. So I flip it on and I sit there to watch it. And it's a long ass movie, and it's going. It's not quite the movie for me. I think I like Return of the King one, and like those like a little bit more, 'cause it's a little bit more actiony. And so I'm watching it, and Gandalf does his thing, and then like they're just about out of the mountain. I'm like, all right, screw this. I'm tired. I'm going to bed. I'll just watch this later. So I shut it off.
Okay.
So I'm thinking I still have like a half hour, 45 minutes or whatever in this movie.
Silly man.
Yeah, so then I rent from Netflix The Lord of the Rings. I'm like, I'm going to sit down and watch this because everybody makes fun of me because I hadn't seen it all the way through. Sit down, watch it, 2.5 hours into it. I get to the part, I'm like, okay, I've seen this part. Okay, this stuff I haven't seen. And it's like literally like 3 minutes more stuff, and then it's done. So I'm like, I just basically missed 3 minutes because I couldn't hang out 3 more minutes to be done with this.
Although I will say that, I think there's something to be had for being able to walk away from a movie. I find that to be somewhat of an admirable quality, because there are times where I am watching a bad movie that I will keep watching because I feel like I need to finish the movie.
Yeah.
In my head for some reason.
I'm trying to think how many movies I know I've walked away from that one, but I've come back to watch it. I mean, there's only a handful. There's a bunch that I've gone to the movie theater, Spider-Man 3, that I've wanted to get up and walk out and just be like, I'm done.
Yeah, me too. Exactly. I mean, not naming, not naming like a specific movie like Spider-Man 3, but I was sitting there. I'm like, this is so bad.
Yeah.
But there I was. I was still stuck there. I still sat and I still watched that movie to the very end.
I think it's bad just when like you sit there and you get the real, because like what I love about movies is the escape, because it's like, okay, I'm in this world, I'm viewing these things happening, but then when it's like Spider-Man 3 scenario, you just get bored with it, and then you're sucked out, and you're like, you realize you're sitting there in a movie theater with all these people, and you're like, I just want this to be over. This
Yeah.
is awful. This is terrible. Like, I'm not even paying attention to the movie anymore. I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants was the other one.
Going back to The Hobbit, another thing that released at Comic-Con was the trailer for the next Hobbit movie.
I saw that. That looked pretty decent.
Battle of Five Armies. Yeah. That looked awesome.
I didn't realize, because I know they said it was based on the Hobbit book, but the Hobbit book's like 100 pages. Like, it's super, super short. And I guess what they're...
Well, I mean, especially when you compare it to, like, you know, The Fellowship of the Ring or, you know, it's the Hobbit book, like, when it was released, I mean, the book was intended for children.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
it was intended... When it was originally released, like, it was meant for kids, like, you know, in, like, the 10 to 13 age range. You know, it's kind of like it was like, you know, a Harry Potter book, basically.
Gotcha.
Or the first Harry Potter book, basically.
Yeah, but I guess what they've done with these 3 movies, I don't know if they did it on purpose, or, I mean, they did it on purpose, obviously, but if they did it just to kind of expand the storyline, is I guess they've picked stories from different books that he's written and have kind of combined those to make this Hobbit trilogy.
Yeah. But, like, this is the one I've been gearing up for, because you're gonna have you got Smaug in this one. You've got I mean I can't there's no spoilers here. It's the Battle of 5 Armies.
Yeah.
The Battle of 5 fucking armies.
And I looked this up, so it's the humans, the dwarves, the elves, the orcs,
and the Eagles.
and the eagles. Are the eagles are they literally the eagles, or are they something else?
No, they're literally eagles.
Okay.
Big giant eagles. They're giant eagles. If that. Well, I don't want to fight a giant eagle. It just picks you up and throws you places.
Look at the talons on that thing. Yeah,
Giant beak and God.
But yeah, that looked pretty decent. I've seen those 2, and I've actually really enjoyed those. Kind of harping back onto the Kevin Smith, in his panel, he released the trailer for his Tusk movie.
Yes.
Did you see previews for that?
I saw I watched the trailer for it, and it looks really good.
He did an awesome job setting that up, and everybody in there seems to hit it on the nose. It's cool because he's doing that Great Northern Trilogy thing, so it's going to be like 3 different horror movies. But it's really cool what he's doing with that, and I think that's kind of, you know, it's one of the things that's pushed me into wanting to try and, you know, get this thing going. Is like he developed that from a podcast.
Right.
Which is crazy. Yeah. It's like I'm talking with my friends, like, man, we should make that into a movie. Like, somebody should do that.
What episode is it? Episode 256 is I mean, they basically, it's him and Mosier, and they just basically they see some ad somewhere and they start talking about it, and they kind of, you know, chit chat about it, and they eventually, like, just for no other reason than to make each other laugh, they come up with this, like, elaborate movie plot that he writes into a script.
It's awesome. It's because he's like sitting there and he's like, somebody should make that into a movie. He's like, wait a minute, you know, I'm a director. I'm in the business. He's like, I should make that, and he goes forward and makes it.
Exactly.
The trailer looks. I mean, it looks creepy. I mean, have you seen Red State?
Yes.
You know, because Red State I thought was good. It was very different from what he's done, but.
Michael Parks is awesome in the movie. So is John Goodman. John Goodman's awesome in that movie too.
He did a great job. But yeah, I mean, it's both those. Everybody in that seems like they're going to do a great job, and that's one of the movies I think I'm definitely going to go see when it comes out. It's like in September or October.
September 16th.
Okay,
I think is the date I saw. But yeah, that movie looked really good, and then it was like you were saying, it's part of the Great Northern Trilogy. So after this one, he's making one called Yoga Hosers.
And I think his daughter's starring in that.
Yeah. It's him, it's her, and a friend, and they are battling supernatural forces in Vancouver?
I think so. Yeah, I think they all take place kind of in that Vancouver area.
And then after that will be Moose Jaws.
I'm curious.
Which is literally Jaws, but a moose.
Farewell, and I do to you fair. Syrup drinking ladies.
Well, see, I'm just like I'm sorry, but I'm picturing like a wheat field, and you just see these antlers going. Most Jaws. Ow! Like, are they gonna be like in like a tractor, and that's gonna be like their boat, in the wheat field where this giant moose is coming to kill them?
What are they gonna chum with? I wonder.
I don't know, people.
And so, you know, in the regular Jaws, when they think they get the regular shark, but it's just a tiger shark, they're actually gonna catch like an elk or something like that, or a deer, and be like, "Nah, that's the one that did it." It's like, I'm not gonna cut that deer up and see the 9-year-old girl fall out.
But and that's it. Like, what about the cage? Like, are they gonna have like a?
They could do like a hunt.
Man goes in the cage. Man goes in the cage because it's Canadian. Being like, man goes in the cage. Cage goes in the woods.
Hey,
moose in the woods.
Syrup in the woods. Oh, that's what they need to chum with is syrup.
Hockey pucks covered in syrup.
That's what he needs to kill him with. Smile, you son of a bitch! Slap shot. That's awesome.
Sorry about the son of a bitch thing.
I'm trying to think. So that came out. Any other trailers that you saw come out of Comic-Con?
I'm surprised you didn't mention this one. Walking Dead.
Yeah, that's the other one I was wanting to talk about. That looked, because you're all caught up, right?
I am not caught up.
Okay.
I stopped at season 4.
Okay.
So I went. I think I went like 3 episodes into season 4, and then I didn't finish it. But I did catch the trailer for season 5, and yeah, it looks pretty fucking stellar.
Yeah, looks pretty. I've heard the first episode's supposed to just be like, it's super intense, and the whole storyline of, I think they're going with the cannibals, not really spoiling anything there, because it's the hunter arc in the comic book, and in that it's just, I mean, it's not like this where they're in the terminus thing. It's just these group of people who are hunting basically people. But I mean, it's just like what.
Well, you're caught up on the comics, right? Have you?
Yeah, I've read all the way through them.
Okay.
So I'm really excited because like the whole DC thing, I've actually got the issue that it's issue 69, where it's got this high five. That's a sexual position. But that's the issue that's got the stake. I believe it's
works for guys and girls. Sorry, I had to throw that in. Or so I'm told. Shit.
It's got the Capitol on the front with like newspapers and stuff going around. So that'll be pretty sweet if they end up going to DC. Well, I don't want to spoil it, I guess. Well, did you see? You said you're halfway through 4th season, right?
Yeah, I went. Look, they were still at the prison.
Okay, so did you see Abraham and them?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Then he mentioned where they were wanting to go.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, so if they end up going to DC, I have like that first comic. So I'm curious if that's gonna kind of have any value. And there's another character that's actually supposed to be coming in that I have the first issue that he's in as well. So it's kind of cool that I've been collecting those for a bit, because if those things actually come to fruition and they actually have those things, like it'd be cool to be able to say, like, yeah, I got that comic.
Yeah. The Walking Dead looked good. TV wise, I think the only real big panels I remember was there was the Walking Dead trailer. There was Game of Thrones panel. Oh, they did have a trailer for The Flash.
I don't think I saw the Comic-Con one. I saw the other one, and that looks pretty decent.
That doesn't look half bad. I guess they showed footage from that and Gotham.
Gotham looks sweet.
Gotham does look pretty sweet.
You don't watch Arrow either, do you? You haven't seen
it? I don't watch Arrow. I actually think I want to start getting into it because this new season, I guess they're introducing Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah. I mean, it's a CW show, so I mean you have to keep that in mind. But it is a good CW show. Like, it is really well done, and the main character Stephen Amell, something like that. He does a great job. I mean, everybody in there is freaking awesome. Tiffany.
I mean,
actually
I haven't
likes
heard
it.
anything bad about it, so
Yeah, it's good. I mean, there's 20 episodes, so you gotta hammer through those, but it's a good show. And like you said, Gotham. There's a lot of TV shows I'm pretty excited to watch. Because Gotham looks like it'll be pretty decent, and then
Gotham does look really good.
NBC's doing Constantine.
Oh yes, that was another one.
Which that one looks pretty decent as well.
I remember watching the trailer for that one. That one looked pretty awesome.
Some of the fanboys were
He's got fire on his hands.
some of the fanboys.
Flaming hands.
Some of the fanboys were upset 'cause he's not going to smoke in it though, because it's on network television. His trademark cigarettes.
They'll let you smoke on network television?
I think
it's bad
so.
to smoke on network
I think they
television?
at least try to push away from it. 'Cause
Oh.
smoking's bad.
Maybe he's got a patch.
That'd be cool. Well, he did go to the psych ward, so maybe they can kind of show that's how he quit.
Yeah. I'd be fine with a patch.
Yeah.
Like if he had a patch. Like that's what they did with Sherlock. Like, because he doesn't
Oh,
really
yeah.
smoke out of a pipe. You know, he doesn't smoke out of a pipe. In the very first episode, you see him. He pulls his. he's sitting on the couch, and Watson's like, "What's that on your arm?" He's like, "It's a nicotine patch. It's so hard to maintain a smoking habit in London." And then he's like, "Are you wearing 3 patches?" He's like, "It's a 3-patch problem."
Well, they reference in there that he's like a drug addict, right?
Sherlock?
Yeah.
He was at one point, yeah.
Okay. They've never really seems like they've never really come out and said that, but it seems like they've hinted around it.
They kind of hint around at it in this last season. They kind of touch on it.
Because this was the last season was when they're like searching his home, like the cops came and like were searching it, and Watson.
No, that was first episode.
Okay. Yeah, because Watson says there's nothing here, there's no drugs or anything, and he's kind of like, actually.
Yeah.
So
That show needs to come back.
was it come back next January, 15, or is it 16 that they're doing it?
I want to say 16.
Okay. Yeah, I know they took a year off because Cumberbatch is doing everything.
Yeah, he is. He's Smog. He's Khan. He was doing something.
Oh, he's in a new movie, World War II movie that looks pretty sweet, where they crack the Nazi code.
Oh yeah, he's playing Turning. Alan Turning.
That looks pretty awesome. Oh, so I guess speaking of World War II, this is not really nerdy or dorky, but something if you're interested. Unbroken is coming out on Christmas.
Okay.
It's on a book. It's about a World War II guy. His name Louis Samperini.
Okay.
So what happened? Just a quick overview. He was a bomber pilot, or like part of a bomber plane. Their plane went down over the ocean, and they basically survived on the ocean for like a month, I think, like 30-some days, only to be captured by the Japanese.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. But he just passed away this past July. Like, he was 90-some years old. Like, he seemed like he was a really awesome dude. And the stories that I've heard, so Angelina Jolie's doing the movie. She's directing it. And I think it's been finished, so hopefully he got to see it before he passed on. But they asked him in an interview, they're like, so are you gonna be in the movie? And he's like, oh yeah, I'd love to be in the movie, but the only way I'd be in it, I'm paraphrasing, but he said the only way I'd be in it is if Angelina Jolie would play my girlfriend. So I was like, guy after my own heart.
That's what. Yeah.
But the last quote I heard from him,
I wonder if that works.
I don't know.
I mean, obviously it kind of worked.
Well, they show a bunch of pictures of her kind of hugging on him and everything. And
the only way I'll do another podcast is if Angelina Jolie will be my girlfriend.
Well, this is the last episode of Language of Bromance.
No.
But the other quote he said on that was kind of funny. So he was talking about, it was kind of sad to begin with, but it kind of ended on a funny note. He's like, I'm getting older, and all my old war buddies and all my friends are kind of passing on, and I'm getting to be more by myself. But he's like, but I got to meet Angelina Jolie, and she hugs and kisses on me, so I got that going for me.
Yeah.
So he seemed like he would have been an awesome dude to me. Not to bring anything down, but that's definitely a movie.
Because he's winning at life. How does that bring anything down?
Well, what's awesome is after I read the book, in the end of it, they talk about like how and this book was written 4 years ago, I think. And it's just talking about how he's in pretty good health. He's still active, and you see him on a skateboard at the very end of it, like in his 80s.
Awesome.
So
that's cool.
He seems like he's a pretty cool guy.
He's sitting but he's the one sitting in a chair with Angelina Jolie like on his lap, and he's like, "What'd you do today?"
Yeah, exactly. He's like, "Oh, you had a rough month, huh? Well, let me tell you a story."
I hate myself.
I'm never gonna complain again.
Yeah, exactly. It makes everything. It makes your entire life seem inconsequential.
Yeah, if you get a chance, you should read that book though. It's pretty awesome.
Right on. Let's see. Big Comic-Con news. That was the Marvel panel. There was the DC. Oh, here you go. You'll like this. Speaking of big time panels, here's one. Sesame Street.
Sesame Street. I didn't hear about this one.
The Sesame Street panel.
Okay.
At the Sesame Street panel, they announced that they will be doing, in this upcoming season of Sesame Street, there will be a Game of Thrones episode.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. This is the world we live in.
Nice.
Westeros is coming to Big Bird.
I wonder, so which one of them's going to die?
I think it's going to be Elmo.
Elmo?
I think they're killing Elmo. I think, because there's all those rumors flying around and allegations and stories or whatever. What's the best way to get rid of a beloved character to just quell all the rumors and just, we need to get past this controversy. How do we do it? Let's kill Elmo. That's how we're doing it.
Just scar
Who
kids.
are we going to have do it?
I
think Big Bird's going to do it. I think Big Bird's going to walk up to Elmo and be like the Lannisters send their regards and stab him in the heart.
Oh, who's the Lannisters?
There's be stuff and flying everywhere. No. That's Elmo's mom. No.
God, that's such a great show.
But yeah, Game of Thrones episode on Sesame Street. That's totally happening.
I'm going to have to pass on that one, I think.
Oh, no. I'm totally in. I am all in.
So the last bit of news I had from Comic-Con, which would kind of lead to the end of this, I guess, is I watched the new Turtles cartoon.
Okay.
And Jason Biggs was the voice of Leonardo.
Really?
Yeah, but he kind of got pushed out. I don't know if he's got like a real bad habit of like tweeting very inappropriate things. Like right when he got the gig, he tweeted something that like everybody's like, yeah, he shouldn't be representing Nickelodeon at all. But he kept it, and I guess there are still just things with like, yeah, let's just cut ties with you. Maybe this isn't the right thing for us. But Seth Green is actually going to be Seth Green, right?
Yeah, it's Seth Green.
Yeah, Seth Green
Robot
is actually
Chicken and
yeah. He's going to be Leonardo. He's going to play the voice of Leonardo for this new season coming up.
Oh, okay.
So it's pretty psyched about that. And they showed some new characters that are coming in. Two of the voices that they said, so they're going to have these, which is awesome with our tie-in of our sign-off is, they're going to have these things called dream beavers.
All right.
So basically they're these mutated beavers that can infiltrate your dreams and mess with them.
Okay.
So if you're thinking something that can infiltrate your dreams, like who would be the ideal voices to have for this?
What voices do I want in my dreams?
Yeah, so if you're
we're going back to Angelina Jolie then.
Well, we're talking scary dreams. So you're thinking about something that can infiltrate your dream and basically take it over, basically be your Prince of the Nightmare kind of scenario. Like
Robert Englund.
Yes, Robert Englund is going to voice one of the dream beavers.
Are you shitting me?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, that's awesome.
He has such an awesome voice too. Like it's going to be
Freddy
creepy.
Fucking Krueger.
Yeah, I know.
You want to talk about the stuff of nightmares? It's the stuff of the guy that defined nightmares.
Yeah. And it's funny because I wish when they did the remake, they should have just casted him because I haven't even seen the remake yet.
I haven't either. I mean, and it's not because I was like, oh my god, I'm not watching that piece of shit or whatever. I just never. It's one of those things that I just never
got around to. Is kind of my scenario.
Yeah, exactly.
But
it didn't pique my interest enough for me to be like, I need to see that, and it wasn't. But it wasn't bad enough. I'm not really in the habit of really like swearing off movies anymore. I'm like, I'm not watching that, or anything like that. But
But like when he was in the Freddy vs. Jason, they had a scene where it's kind of a prequel where he's getting hit with fireballs and turned into the the Freddy Krueger, and he looks freaking creepier there than he did when he was younger.
Really?
So it's like he would have been the perfect, like, playing the Freddy Krueger piece, because I mean he looks like a creep.
Oh, here's interesting fun factoid for you. In the 80s, Robert Englund had an apartment in Los Angeles, and he had a roommate. Okay. Guess who his roommate was? Let's see. I'll give you a hint. He was a very big star in the 80s, and we've actually mentioned something related to him so far in the podcast.
Was it Joss Whedon?
No, it was not Joss Whedon.
I was gonna say
actor. Nah, too late.
Yeah, too late.
Mark Hamill.
Oh, okay.
Mark Hamill. See, to me, like you see like reality shows or what, that's something I want to see. That's a sitcom right there to me. Robert Englund and Mark Hamill sharing an apartment together. Freddy Krueger and Luke Skywalker hanging out.
No, Freddy Krueger and the Joker hanging out.
Oh.
How awesome would that be?
Oh. And he'd be talking in his Freddy voice,
yeah.
and then Mark would be talking in his Joker voice.
That'd be awesome. That's a sitcom. But
what do you think about this? I don't know.
But the other voice that they're going to have for those beavers, I don't know what the guy's name is, but it's the voice of the Crypt Keeper. He's going to be doing another one.
Oh.
So kind of interesting thing there.
Evening, boys and ghouls.
Yeah.
One other thing that I feel like I don't feel like I should mention. Another big announcement that they had on the television front. There's a crossover episode that's happening on Fox between Family Guy and The Simpsons.
I heard about that. I haven't seen the trailer or anything.
Crossing them over into one episode.
I always forget that they're on the same station.
I forget that The Simpsons are on. And I mean, and it's nothing against, I mean, The Simpsons have been going on, shit, how long has that show been on?
25 years.
Oh my God. I mean, to keep doing shows and trying to be funny for that long with that running list of episodes, like, what do you have left to be funny about? And I'm not holding it against the show. I'm saying, like,
that's
impressive.
Great. Yeah.
It's very impressive. So yeah, crossover episode, Family Guy and The Simpsons, Dream Beavers, Starships, Turtles.
It's Comic-Con. So, kind of to wrap it all up, so we got our nerdiness. So, we've got episode 7 coming out at the end of next year. Yes. But my Star Wars is coming out in a week, August 8th. The theaters around here is going to open it August 7th at 7 o'clock. So, I am going to be there. It's going to be in 3D, which is kind of a bummer for me, but already got my tickets bought. I think I got like...
Does 3D not work for you?
It's just not my thing.
3D doesn't actually work for me. I have my left eye when I was a kid, I had a lazy eye, and it fucked up my perception. And, yeah, 3D doesn't really work on me at all.
Can you actually still watch it, or does it just look blurry?
Oh, I can still watch it. Like, if I have the glasses on, I can still watch it. But the 3D effect, like, is I'd say, like, about 85% of it is lost on me.
Gotcha. I just don't like it because it's too gimmicky. Like, I just want to sit and watch a movie, and when I feel like it's not like that doesn't help me feel like I'm more into the movie. It just feels like it's a gimmick. It's like, hey, sit in this chair because it moves.
You want me to be immersed in a movie? Write a better goddamn movie. That's you.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're the heckler from the Muppet Show, sitting up in the balcony, like 3D. Guess that means dreadful, dreary, and depressing.
So, are you going to be coming around here at that point? Do you want to try and go see it with
me? Yes and yes. I mean, yes? Shit. Hang on. Hetero answers. Let me Google this. No.
Okay.
Wait. Yeah.
Maybe.
Says no. It says... I'll say maybe.
Okay.
Ask again later.
Yeah, so that's on my agenda. I guess we got some shout outs we're wanting to give out too.
Oh yes.
I got Twitter pulled up. So as you know, we've got our Twitter account. And Recently,
we're also on Facebook, and I just want to say that thank you guys so much for all the support you've given us on Facebook, because I'm literally like taken aback by the number of people that have actually gone to like the page.
Yeah, it seems like we jumped up quite a bit. We're getting a lot of people listening to the show, so hopefully you enjoy it. Again, any kind of comments you want to give us, feel free. I was talking about the turtles. The Great Nesto, it's at Random Anamo. I said that I was excited about going to the Turtles movie, and he said, sadly, I refuse to give Michael Bay any more of my money. I know he's only producing, but that's enough for me. Hopefully I can tell him it's worth going to see, but there's that for now. And then I'll keep talking. I'll pull up our other email that we got.
Oh, yes.
So we did our hero draft a little bit ago. And
no.
Oh, I'm sorry. We haven't done the hero draft.
You're talking about the villain draft.
The villain draft, yeah. Let's see here.
We had somebody come up with we had somebody that actually suggested their own team. It was like, you guys suck. Check out this shit. This shit's awesome.
This is the greatest team ever. And we're like, yeah, it is. His name's Dave the Nerd. And he just said, I just got done listening to episode 3 where you had the villain draft. I was thinking about it, and you guys did a great job, but you missed some decent villains if you are looking for a true destructive and domination. What would you think of this draft? And this is what he had. So it's Team Domination and Destruction, which is a good name, better than the name I came up with.
It is such a good name.
So his first pick was Carnage. Second pick was...
Carnage... Carnage is a decent pick. I don't know if Carnage wouldn't definitely not be my number one.
Well, he is coming.
Carnage he's got like this amorphous body and like all that shit's cool. Just like I'm looking at the other names on the list and like there's ones I would have picked first before I picked Carnage. That's just me.
He is picking after 14 picks too, so he's kind of coming late to the party. But he has Deadpool, Deathstrike, Bane, the Predator, Loki. And he threw in 2 because we didn't really talk about anti-heroes, but he has Phoenix in there. And he said that's not allowed. He'd take Sabretooth in there as well. So a very, very comic-y team, but pretty awesome team.
Except for the Predator. Predator wasn't comic-y. I will say,
right.
like, if we're doing Bane, are we doing what I want to know is are we getting Dark Knight Rises Bane? Are we getting like a big guy that sounds like a British butler, or are we getting a big guy that actually sounds like he's from South America, or my personal favorite, are we getting a big guy that speaks in one-word sentences and is a complete and utter abomination of the character he was based on?
Oh, are you talking about Batman and Robin?
Bomb.
All right. Well, is there anything else you want to add?
Check us out on Facebook.
Yeah.
Shoot us an email because we love getting them. Send a review on iTunes. Tell us we're good. Tell us we suck. Tell us we should talk about this more or talk about this less. Or if anybody wants to mention that we should. I'm glad that we went through the entire episode without mentioning sharks. No, we didn't go. We had Jaws.
Oh, yeah, we did. Yeah, Moose Jaws.
If anybody wants to send an email or write a review saying talk about sharks less, I'm totally fine with that. I'll send you a sticker.
That'll make editing hard. It's more work for me. Yeah, so if you want to tweet us, we're just at Language of Bro. If you want to send us an email, we're languageofbromance@gmail.com. We've got a site, languageofbromance.com. And we're now on Stitcher too. So if you don't have
definitely
iTunes,
check us out on Stitcher.
Yeah.
I just got the app a few days ago, and I love it.
Yeah,
love the app.
For non-Apple people, I would assume that's probably the best app to get. Cause
definitely.
The iTunes or the Apple podcast app is pretty decent enough. But you can leave a review on Stitcher if you don't have iTunes. If you have iTunes, go ahead and leave us a review there. We'd love to hear from you.
Oh, totally.
All right. So I guess that's all the bromance we have for this show. I'm Shawn.
And I'm Richard.
And I say we eat the beaver.